You captured human children? Are you insane? Aliens' furious warning. The Dralcor warship drifted in orbit above the shattered colony world, its black hull gleaming in the light of the system's red sun. Inside the command chamber, Captain Vrixa of the Ravari Confederacy reviewed the day's successes with satisfaction. Prisoners, over 100 colonists, had been taken. Resources seized. The humans had been too scattered to put up much resistance. Or so Vrixa thought. The report. Captain, hissed First Officer Thren, the boarding squads report an unusual find. Vrixa looked up from his console. Unusual how? They have captured juveniles. The Ravari captain's crest lifted in mild amusement. Human young? Good. Their adults will be easier to break when we threaten the spawn. A new voice cut through the air, sharp, furious, and utterly alien in its tone. Release them. Now. Every soldier turned toward the intruder. A tall, ash-skinned alien stood in the entryway, wearing the segmented armor of the Korath Alliance. Her eyes burned like coals. Her name was Karen, and she was not Ravari, nor was she an enemy of the humans. She was their ally. The warning begins. Vrixa's crest flattened in irritation. Karen. I didn't summon you. Leave before you. Karen strode into the room, closing the distance between them in 4 measured steps. You took human children, she said, voice low. Tell me you didn't. Vrixa bared his teeth in a grin. And if I did? Karen's jaw tightened. Then you have doomed every living thing on this ship. The Ravari soldiers laughed. She didn't. Explaining the truth. You think humans fight hard for their territory? You've never seen what they do for their young, Karen said. I fought alongside them during the siege of Veyrun. Do you know what happened there? Vrixa snorted. They lost, if I recall. They did not, Karen said sharply. The enemy took 6 of their juveniles from a civilian transport. 6. Do you know how many warships humans sent in response? No one spoke. 2 fleets. Not detachments, full fleets. They abandoned an entire front of the war just to get those children back. They glassed every stronghold in 100 light-years. And when they found the captors, her voice dropped to a whisper. They didn't negotiate. They didn't threaten. They erased them. Vrixa's arrogance. Vrixa scoffed. Stories. Humans are still flesh and blood. They bleed. They bleed, Karen agreed. And when they do, they learn. They remember. Do you think they will stop at rescuing the children? No. They will destroy your fleet, your homeworld, your name. Your grandchildren will grow up in whispers, if they live at all. The room had gone uncomfortably quiet. Vrixa, unwilling to look weak before his crew, waved a claw dismissively. Let them come. We'll mount their skulls beside the others. The first sign. Before anyone could respond, an alarm shrieked through the command deck. Captain, cried a sensor officer. Multiple warp signatures inbound, fast movers. Vrixa spun toward the display. 20, 30, 40 ships blinked into the system. They weren't arranged in a cautious formation. They were arrowing directly toward the Dralcor. And every one of them flew the Terran Defense Fleet colors. The human response. A transmission cut through the static, tight beam and crystal clear. The voice on the other end was calm, almost too calm. This is Admiral Sarah Keene of the Terran Defense Fleet. You are holding children belonging to the United Terran Republic. Release them immediately, unharmed, or there will be no survivors aboard your vessel. Vrixa sneered into the comm. You're outnumbered. Count again, Keene said. Sensors spiked. Another 50 ships warped in behind the first wave. And then another 60. The display bloomed red with hostile contacts until the Ravari officers stopped counting. Karen's final plea, Karen leaned close to Vrixa, her voice like a blade. This is the last moment you will ever have to make the right choice. Vrixa hesitated. He could feel the eyes of his crew on him. He could hear the hum of the approaching Terran ships. And deep in his instincts, something cold and primal began to whisper that perhaps the Korath was not exaggerating. The consequence. He made the wrong choice. Arm all batteries. Vrixa roared. Target the lead Terran vessel. They got off exactly 2 shots before the humans fired. The Ravari shields buckled under the first salvo. Armor plates peeled away under precision strikes that seemed almost surgical. The Dralcore shuddered as its power core screamed under the load. And then the boarding pods came. The breach. Karen didn't fight the humans. She stepped aside as their marines stormed the command deck, their armor matte black, visors reflecting nothing. They moved with the silent precision of predators who had done this 100 times before. The lead marine, his voice filtered through a rebreather, spoke only one sentence. "Where are the children?" Karen pointed. They were found minutes later, unharmed. The human medics moved them out with practiced efficiency. The end of Vrixa. As the last child was evacuated, Admiral Keen herself stepped onto the deck, her face carved from stone. She looked at Vrixa the way a surgeon looks at something they're about to cut out. "You took what is ours," she said. "We warned you. Now you will serve as an example." No one aboard the Dralcore lived to see another sunrise. Aftermath. Weeks later, spacers whispered the story in every port and dive across the spiral arm. The lesson was short and sharp. You could fight humans for territory. You could trade with them, argue with them, even outwit them. But if you touched their children, you were already dead.